Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. Feeling is the Secret is a short read, but it's an impactful read. It explains the concept of changing your life through conscious and subconscious thoughts and feelings. It explains how you can feel your way to success in all areas of your life. So today, I really wanted to share my experience with Feeling is the Secret while pulling on some quotes from the book that really resonated with me in hopes that it resonates with the audience. This book reinforces the importance of taking control of one's life. And for me, it really helped guide me to go within and be the creator of my reality, the dreamer of my dreams. And when you do this, when you start to go within, you begin to navigate your world with more ease and flow because you know that you are forever being guided. And when you know this, you begin to change the circumstances you experience by going within and aligning with your higher self. You understand that you are the cause and you impact the effect. And you realize that if you blame the outside world for mishaps, challenges, you'll forever be a slave to your external experiences. And when you blame the external world, you fail to see the power that you have within. But when you raise your level of consciousness, you start to take your power back. And this is what the book emphasizes. It blends in imagination, desire, sleep, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And as you bake all these things together, the world around you begins to melt and transform and mold and take shape to that which you desire to experience. And then you start to see the world as a guide. You start to see your feelings as signposts leading you away from what you're not meant to experience and leading you towards what you are meant to experience. So in chapter 1, Neville talks about the law and its operation, right? Neville indicates that there are basic principles and laws that allows one to manifest what they want. And as long as you adhere to these principles, life will yield the results that you want and you desire. The quote goes, "The world and all within it is man's conditioned consciousness objectified. Consciousness is the cause as well as the substance of the entire world. So it is the consciousness that we must turn if we would discover the secret of creation." Now, what does he mean by this? He means, therefore, the law operates from the same fundamental principles found within the Hermetic's teaching in the principle of correspondence. The world and all within is man's conditioned consciousness objectified. Whatever man experiences in the outer world is created from his inner state, right? As above, so below, as below, so above. And when you remember that consciousness is the one and only reality and is the first and only substance, we remember that through consciousness, everything is created. We remember that consciousness is primary, it's the fundamental, it's the foundation, right? Consciousness is not made of things, but things are made of consciousness. Therefore, whatever you are aware of, consciously or unconsciously, will create your experience in your reality. And inversely, your reality is shaped by your consciousness. Therefore, the predetermining factor for all that we experience is consciousness, right? And to simplify it, all the happiness, all the joy, all the success, all the bliss, as well as all the fear, all the doubt, all the insecurity, and all the limited beliefs are based on your consciousness, are based on your beliefs, and are based on what you feel and experience within. Therefore, like Neville said, it is the consciousness that we must turn if we were to discover the secret of creation. Let me just say it again. It is the consciousness, not the external world, but the consciousness that we must turn. And what does this mean? This means that our attention must move from the external world. Our external world is not to blame for our circumstances. Now, the hard truth is sometimes we want to blame people, places, and circumstances for our challenges, right? Because it allows us to show face. For instance, when things don't go our way, we have something or someone to blame, right? We could tell people it's not a matter of I won't do it or I don't want to do it. I just simply can't. What this sounds like is I can't do what I want because of my circumstances or because it would require too much change or because I'm uncomfortable or I've been here for a long time and it would disrupt too many things or because I don't know where to start, and the list goes on. But what we must see is that when we make decisions from this place, we are making decisions from a false sense of security and safety. And when your perception of the situation or your perception of self are low, from a low vibration or from a false sense of security, you're not aligned with your true self. You're not aligned with your higher self. Therefore, it all goes back to your perception of yourself. As they say, it's I am's perception of self that determines his or her reality. Your creations are not determined by how you view the external world, but rather your creations are determined by how you view yourself. Therefore, we have to take our attention off the external world and place it within. Your energy flows where your attention goes. And when your attention goes to your consciousness, you create what you want in this world. As stated, it is to consciousness we must turn if we want to discover the secret of creation. Now, to expand the law of operation, Neville goes on to say, in order to intelligently operate the law of consciousness, it is necessary to understand the relationship between conscious and the subconscious. The conscious is personal and selective. The subconscious is impersonal and non-selective. The conscious is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. These two aspects are the male and female divisions of consciousness. The conscious is male, the subconscious is female, meaning the principle of the law of consciousness operates between the conscious and subconscious mind. When you are operating from the conscious perspective, you are extracting information based on your personal experiences with the outer world. The conscious mind is selective, as they say, in the sense that it filters information that is being selected through the lens of your five senses. Whereas the subconscious mind is impersonal in nature, meaning it does not require personal experiences for the information to be impressed on it, right? It is not selective in the sense that what is impressed on your subconscious can come from a variety of things, right? From numerous areas, personal experiences, past experiences. It can come from imagination, affirmation, and feeling. And this is the key difference. Now, when you're responding from your conscious state, you're reacting to your environment. You see something in your reality, you respond to it. That's putting you on the effect side of things. But when you operate from the subconscious, you create your reality, right? You are never in a reactive state when you do this because you are the creator, right? You are the dreamer of your dream. So it's you that's creating whatever you're experiencing. And that's what puts you on the cause side of things instead of the effect side of things. Neville talks about the conscious and subconscious and compares it to the male and female aspects of self. He says the conscious is male and the subconscious is female. And then he'll say that the subconscious male will impregnate the subconscious with an idea. And once that idea has been planted and impressed on the subconscious, it will be expressed. The subconscious will give birth to it and express it in the outside world where it can be experienced. Therefore, it's our subconscious mind that selects our ideas, right? And those ideas, when paired with a feeling and a belief, are brought into form via the subconscious. And this is what we have to watch and pay attention to because this is key. The subconscious, therefore, is not selective. So whatever you are feeling, whether it's true or not, or whether the belief that you have for yourself is aligned with your desire or not, the mere fact that you have the belief means it will be impressed on your subconscious. And that's enough for that belief to be expressed in the outside world. And this starts to explain the marriage between the subconscious and conscious and how things are created, right? And this is why I do so much work on my subconscious, because prior to this, and prior to understanding the relationship between the conscious and subconscious mind and creating, I would create from a conscious perspective. And I would wonder why I would revert back to old habits, or I wonder why I would do things that perhaps I didn't necessarily want to do. When I wanted to experience happiness or joy, I'll put all my effort into going after things in the outside world. I never once considered putting the same amount of effort within. But now, when I want to experience change, I go within and work on the aspects of myself that allow me to be magnetic. And I do this on a daily basis. It's become as important to me as brushing my teeth or taking a shower. I meditate or I find time for stillness, or I journal. I set my intention. I give gratitude, whether it's what I exercise, I exercise and I watch what I eat, and all that puts me in alignment with my higher self. Your body is a vessel, and information is channeled through this vessel, And if you are in alignment, you will receive all the guidance that you've hoped for, and this goes back to the notion that true change happens from within and not without. To attempt to change external circumstances without changing the internal is a band-aid solution to change, but as you tap into your body, you feel your energy, you feel your emotions, you see that your feelings are constantly guiding you to where you're meant to go. And this is the idea, right? It's about understanding your feelings as signposts. Neville goes on to say that feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Therefore, the man who does not control his feelings may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states. By controlling a feeling is not meant restraint or suppression of your feelings, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feelings as contributes to your happiness. Feeling is the variable that, when fused with the imagination, creates belief and bring things into form. Therefore, it's critical that we are aware of our feelings. When we're not aware of our feelings, there can be a disconnect between what we want and what we believe we can achieve. So consciously, we can be working hard towards trying to achieve something, but subconsciously, our habits, fears, limited beliefs are not in congruence with what we're moving towards. You think about it. How many times have we been in situations where consciously we are working hard towards achieving something while subconsciously we're simultaneously questioning if we want to continue down this path, or whether we think we are capable or worthy or deserving of this desire. In the early phases of my entrepreneurial journey, I experienced this, where my limited beliefs would surface and I had to make an effort to pull my attention back to, what I desired. And so many of us entrepreneurs, especially if we're in the infancy of our journey, can feel overwhelmed at times. And if we allow those feelings to overtake us, they can potentially derail us from our desires. As Neville said, the man who does not control his feelings may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states. Neville goes on to say that your subconscious impressions determine the conditions of your reality. The subconscious is not selective, it is impersonal, and no respecter of persons. The subconscious is not concerned with the truth or falsity of your feeling. It always accepts as true that which you feel to be true. Meaning, if your feelings are aligned with your desires, they will be impressed and expressed in the outside world. And this is what you experience. And on the reverse, if your feelings are not aligned with your desires, they too will be impressed and expressed in the outside world. Therefore, we need to take inventory of our feelings, right? It's not about suppressing the feelings that are foreign to us, but it's about seeing them for what they are, seeing if they're in alignment with what we desire for ourselves or not. As Neville stated, every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, it must be expressed. The dominant of the two feelings is the one expressed. For instance, I am healthy is a stronger feeling than I will be healthy. I feel I will be is to confess I am not. Therefore, it's important for us to monitor our inner dialogue and what we're saying to ourselves and others about our desires. Because whether we believe we can achieve our desires or not, or whether we are conscious or unconscious of how we feel, those things will be impressed on the subconscious and expressed in our outside world. So whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are right. Now, usually it's easier for us to detect a positive feeling from a negative feeling. For instance, moving from I no longer want to feel fear to I want to feel courage, or I no longer want to feel doubt. I want to have faith and belief. Those things are easy. Where it becomes more challenging is when we attempt to be now and feel now what we desire to be in the future. Right? There is a difference between I am strong and I will be strong, or I am healthy versus I will be healthy, or I am prosperous versus I will be prosperous one day. As they say, I am that I am is to decree that I am what I desire to be today, now, in the moment, right? So despite what my external world tells me, I know that I am my desire. I can imagine it, I can feel it, I can embody it. I express it now in the current state as if the wish has already been fulfilled, right? Because to express I will be is to confess I am not. And as subtle as it may seem, it makes the world of a difference. When you create from your desire, you manifest your desire. When you create from a state of I will be, you are acknowledging that you are not. And then you create that in your outside world. And this is why I said monitor what you say to yourself and others, because this will help you pinpoint where your beliefs are. This will help you identify where you are from a core belief perspective. When I was in the infancy of my journey, I had a lot of doubts, and I would say I'm working on something new, or there's a lot to work on right now, or, I'm just taking my time. It's hard for me to fully commit to what I was doing, or at least admit what I was doing because of fear of failure. And I feel that if I failed, then I'd have to kind of face this failure. When you analyze this and you look at this, you see that you're creating based on fear. And as we know, what you impress is what you express, and this is what you project. Only through doing the work that I really started to shift my limited beliefs and align with my desires and trust and have faith that what I desire will be. And as I shifted my feelings and thinking, my world changed. My dialogue changed, and how I spoke about myself and how I spoke about myself to others started to change. And as I changed, I started to attract different things as well. As Neville says, your feelings create the pattern from which your world is fashioned. And a change in feeling is to a change in pattern. Meaning the patterns of life are man's feelings outputted. And once the feelings change, the patterns change. So as you can see, there's a relationship between the conscious and subconscious, right? The subconscious male impresses, the subconscious female expresses. You know, St. Paul described the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious to that of which the relationship between husband and wife. He said the woman should be the subject to man in everything. The subconscious does serve man and faithfully gives form to his feelings. However, the subconscious has a distinct distaste for compulsion and response to persuasion rather than command, consequently resembles the beloved wife more than the servant. What does this mean? The conscious objective or male aspect of consciousness, when assuming a particular objective and believing it to be true, will impress that belief on the subconscious or female aspect of consciousness. And that belief is then expressed in our outside world. The idea, as Neville's saying, is not to force ideas onto the subconscious, because when you force someone to do something, yes, they may attempt to do whatever you ask, but they won't believe in whatever they're doing. Whereas through the art of persuasion, you can suggest an idea, and if someone assumes that suggestion to be their own and believes it to be true, they can bring that forth and manifest that into reality. As Neville stated, the subconscious has a distinct distaste for compulsion and response to persuasion rather than command, right? The key is fusing what you desire to be with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, with that belief. So if I desire to be an entrepreneur, but I don't believe I can, forcing the concept on myself is futile. Yet we do this all the time, right? We take steps and we take action, and the motivation behind that is often doubt, fear, insecurity, disbelief, hesitation. But rather than force, we want to convince ourselves that we are today what we desire to be through the art of persuasion, self hypnosis, a state akin to sleep, timeline therapy, affirmations, imagination. As we do this, we begin to persuade the subconscious that we are what we desire to be. And through mastering this, we master the art of creation. We are creating a new feeling. And when you begin to align with the feeling of your higher self, you start seeing that everything in life is guiding you towards your desires. And these signs act as proof that you are in alignment with what you want. And as you experience more proof, it raises your vibration and raises your confidence. And this is impressed in your subconscious and expressed in your outside world. By assuming the feeling that would be yours, were you already in possession of your objective, the subconscious is moved to build that exact likeliness of your assumption. Your desires are not subconsciously accepted until you assume the feeling of their reality. For only through feeling is an idea subconsciously accepted, and only through this subconscious acceptance is it ever expressed. Neville goes on to say that a man can receive nothing unless it is given to him from heaven, and the kingdom of heaven is within you. And this is the point of the law of operation. It's to know that the kingdom of heaven is within you. And when you access the kingdom of heaven within, you create reality to reflect what you desire. To understand the law of operation is to know that to put your attention on the outside world to facilitate change is like trying to push a car up the hill when getting into the car and pressing the gas would prove to be far less strenuous procedure. But the reality is pushing a car up the hill can work despite the fact that it's not the ideal way to do things. And this is what we have to understand. Yes, there are multiple ways to create, but there is an ideal way to create. And when you create outside yourself, this is futile. One must create from within to truly change one's circumstances. But ultimately, you have choice. We choose how and what we want to create, but we need to know that what you believe is what your reality will be. As Neville said, to seek outside yourself for that which you do not feel is to seek in vain. For we never find that which we want. We find only that which we are. One of the variables that really solidifies, the feeling and creating from the feeling is sleep. Neville talks about the importance of sleep in manifesting your desired and creating from the wish fulfilled. When you look at it, we spend approximately 33% of our lives asleep, right? The average night's sleep is about 8 hours, and one sleeps for 1/3 of their life, right? So if you were to live, say, 75 years, that's 25 years of sleep. Neville says, it is in sleep and in prayer, a state akin to sleep, that man enters the subconscious to make his impressions and receives his instructions. In these states, the conscious and subconscious are creatively joined. The male and female become one flesh. Therefore, as mentioned earlier, sleep and prayer are the gateways to the subconscious, and as you enter a state akin to sleep, your attention is taken off the external world and taken inwards. When your mind is in a theta state or state akin to sleep, is when the subconscious mind is most impressionable. If you try to reprogram the subconscious when it's not in a theta state, it will be more challenging to reprogram. Therefore, it's during times of the day when the mind is most impressionable that you want to consciously impress upon the subconscious the state you desire. When you are waking up or when you're going to sleep and when you're not fully awake, the subconscious mind is fully impressionable. And the other time of the hour is before you go to bed. It's in that theta state, again, that the mind is the most impressionable. Therefore, prayer and affirmation before sleep give the subconscious the instructions it needs to begin to bring your desires to form. The subconscious objective, or the male aspect of the mind, impresses that belief on the subconscious or female aspect of the consciousness. And then that belief is then expressed in the outside world through birthing your ideas into form, which symbolizes the male and female becoming one flesh. The things that we do in the theta state are 6 times more impressionable than that what we experience throughout the course of the day. And when you know this, you start to discern, where do I put my attention before I go to sleep? Are you filling your mind with negative things or things that may distract you? Or are you investing in things that are in alignment with your desires? We want to do things that are aligned with our desires. And it could be prayer, it could be gratitude, meditation, visualization, reading a book that's aligned with our desires, listening to motivational videos. The key is doing things in your theta state that align with what you truly desire, being persistent on this, because as you persist on this, you're providing the subconscious with the instructions that it needs to impress on your subconscious, and what's impressed on the subconscious will be expressed in the outside world, and you will then begin to experience what you truly desire. So we have a desire or a vision, right? And we can all imagine, and we want to bring that forth. Maybe it's a new position, maybe it's a new relationship, maybe it's an entrepreneur journey. Then we know that in a state akin to sleep, we want to fashion the vision to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That would follow achievement of that event. So we need to pinpoint what event would follow the achievement of your desire. How would it feel? How would I feel if my wish were to be fulfilled? And when we recognize this feeling, we consciously bring this feeling of the wish fulfilled into the chamber of the subconscious. When you journey into sleep, you bring with you the feeling you intend to feel once the desires have been fulfilled. As Neville described it, sleep is the doorway into the subconscious that never sleeps. So you bring forth your desires into that doorway. And this is how you begin to manifest things in your outside world. He that keepeth Israel shall never slumber nor sleep. Nevertheless, he giveth his beloved sleep. The subconscious never sleeps. Sleep is the door through which the conscious waking mind passes to be creatively joined to the subconscious. Sleep conceals the creative act while the objective world reveals it, right? The journey from the conscious to the subconscious via sleep allows us to impress what we want in the subconscious and express it into our reality. Neville goes on to say, disregard appearances and feel that things are as you wish them to be. For he hath called things that are not seen as though they were, and the unseen becomes seen. To assume the feeling of satisfaction is to call conditions into being which will mirror satisfaction. Signs follow, they do not precede. Proof that you are will follow the consciousness that you are. It will not precede it. The subconscious is the repository for all of our limited beliefs, doubts, fears, and indecisions. These feelings often are a result of past experiences. And once these experiences have been impressed on the subconscious, they are expressed in the outside world. Now, it's important that when we experience these things, we don't fixate on them, because if we do, they have the tendency to pull us away from our desires. And this is why Neville said, disregard appearances and feel that things are as you wish them to be. For he hath called things that are not seen as though they were, and the unseen becomes seen. This is key, because when we don't see in our reality what we desire, we say that the signs are not there. Or because we don't see how we can get from point A to point B, we say that it's not possible, because it's not on the radar. And this is why people often wait for proof before they start doing what they want. They'll wait for another job opportunity before they change careers, or they'll wait for a new relationship before they get out of the one they want, right? And although this may work for some, we want to believe that this is not the way, because we are essentially saying that I need proof before I can believe, meaning I need to rely on my five senses. And if the proof is not there, I will not believe I'm capable of the opportunity that awaits me. But in creation, belief precedes proof. Having an unwavering belief is what enables you to make the unseen seen. As Neville states, signs follow, they do not precede. Proof that you are will follow the consciousness that you are. It does not precede. As we stated, your subconscious is the repository for limited beliefs, limited decisions, fears, regrets, doubts. And these feelings are connected to past experiences, which are connected to different people, different places, different things. When we wake up in a negative state, or when we go to bed in this state, we are creating a state of being that is connected to our past limited beliefs. As Joe Dispenza states, the familiar past will create the predictable future, because the subconscious doesn't discriminate. Whatever you impress is what is expressed. Therefore, it's about identifying the limited beliefs and replacing them with more empowering beliefs that align with your desires. Know that you can change the pattern. If you fixate on the past, you create from the past and you experience reality from the past. But if we have unwavering faith that what we desire is what we create, this is what we will experience in our reality. And this is why we emphasize to take your attention off past limiting beliefs and put them on more empowering beliefs, right? The subconscious, again, it doesn't discriminate. So where you put your attention is what you will create, right? Energy flows where your attention goes. Man awake is under compulsion to express his subconscious impression. If in the past he unwisely impressed himself, then let him begin to change his thought and feeling. For only as he does so will he change his world. Do not waste one moment in regret, for to think feelingly or the mistake of the past is to reinfect yourself. Let the dead bury the dead. Turn from appearances and assume the feeling that would be yours were you already the one you wish to be. Meaning it's important that we don't allow past feelings, shortcomings, or challenges to keep us living in the past. If your thoughts and feelings are stuck in the past, they will create your future. The saying, let the dead bury the dead, was used to convey the belief that the past is the past and what's done is done. that we shouldn't revive or dwell on old patterns or conflicts that have long since been dead and buried. For me, the process of letting go of past experiences or looking beyond your five sensory experiences is to die before dying, right? You're releasing your attachment from the five sensory world. You're untethering yourself from the physical surroundings and the limited beliefs, and you're aligning with your higher self, and you're allowing divine intelligence to guide you. It's I am's perception of self that determines his or her reality. We all have experiences, and there's no fault or shame or guilt in saying that we've had challenges that have impacted who we are, because they also explain who we are. Our past experiences are what they are. And sometimes we have limited knowledge about how we are supposed to create. And there's no shame or guilt around that. There's a lot of learning that can be done from understanding where we were and where we are now. Because for me personally, doing things that the way I've always did them, I realized that they didn't work. I felt unfulfilled. I felt like they weren't really pulling me towards my desires. And when you start to release the tethers that are holding you down, you start to rise. You start to feel lighter. You start to be more optimistic. I start to experience more love and joy in my life. I started to have more ease and flow. And I realized that I'm constantly being guided, and I'm constantly moving in the direction that's meant for me. And this process is incredibly empowering because you're taking your attention off the limited beliefs. You're taking your attention off the past experiences that were not in alignment with your higher self. And you're choosing by choice to put your attention on the true self, the higher self, and what you desire for yourself. You're polarizing yourself from a low negative frequency to a higher frequency. And you're imagining yourself to be in that state. And in that alone is a knowingness, and that knowingness carries its own vibration and frequency. And when you embody that, you attract things that are in alignment to that. And this is really the path to creating. It's knowing that I have the capability at any time to empower myself and move towards what I truly want for myself. When it comes to prayer, every prayer or thought or word or deed involves a flow of energy. And through prayer, the energy of vibration is increased, right? These vibrations have the power to change your surroundings and bring you into alignment with your desires. Positive affirmations are like prayer, and especially at nighttime before you go to bed, it's so important because they attract positive results. The old age tradition of prayer before sleeping is so that the positive thoughts and prayers can sink into the subconscious mind during sleep. As Neville said, when you pray, enter into your closet. And when you have shut the door, pray to your Father, which is in secret. And your Father, which is in secret, shall reward you openly. And this simply means find a room or a place to be quiet where you can shut the door on all the noisy demands of any given moment and be in communication with your higher self. When you shut out the noise and distractions from the outer world, you create space so that the mind and the subconscious become more receptive to the suggestions of prayer. As you align with the divine intelligence through prayer, your prayers are answered and revealed in the outside world. Therefore, to pray successfully requires you to align the prayer with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To pray without combining it with the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to pray in vain, right? I believe that it's not necessary to pray every moment of every day, but rather it's more important that you formulate your desire for the thing that aligns with your desires, and to get the message arranged in a coherent order, right? Like, we don't make things happen just by words alone. We do this by holding a vision, aligning with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and then creating an image in a coherent order, one that would resemble an event that would occur immediately after accomplishing our desire, and having an unwavering faith and belief that I will receive that which I desire to receive. And although it may be difficult for some to embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled without evidence, this is the path that is required to bring your desires to fruition. As Neville said, signs follow, they do not proceed. Prove that you will follow the consciousness that you are. It doesn't proceed. When you raise yourself to a level of consciousness that sees beyond the five senses, you begin to speak the language of your higher self. And you'll notice that through prayer and through affirmation, you are receiving signs, symbols, and synchronicities that are guiding you towards your desires. I stress the importance of this because those that struggle to see beyond the lens of the five senses are slave to their environment. They struggle to see beyond what's in front of them. The idea is to understand or see the limitations of the five sensory world, but not allow that reality to influence you as you go into prayer. And that's why for me, I really try to filter what I watch, what I read, and definitely who I spend my time with. Even if I have a day that wasn't ideal and it wasn't working out or wasn't aligned with my desires, what I try to do before going to sleep is meditate and journal. And in my journaling, I try to give gratitude for all the things that went well in the day. And I try to see how even the things that didn't work out are guiding me towards my desires, even though it's not on the radar and I can't see it. I trust and believe that I am still being guided. And as you do this, you bring this into sleep. And as you carry this into sleep, you increase the chances of manifesting this into your reality. The undisciplined man finds it difficult to believe that which is denied by the senses, and usually accepts or rejects solely on appearances of the senses. Now, because of this tendency to rely on the evidence of the senses, it is necessary to shut them out before starting prayer, before attempting to feel that which they deny. For many of us who don't pray, it can sound intimidating, but prayer is simply a thought or words directed to your higher power, your highest self. When you sit in stillness, you make space in your mind for divine wisdom and spiritual guidance to come through. We have to see that every thought is a message to the universe asking for what you want. So when you focus on what you want, the universe conspires to help you manifest it. If you focus on what you don't want, the universe will also bring that forth as well, right? So if you focus on the solution and the feeling of the resolution, this is what you will attract. And you don't even need to know how it will happen or when it will happen. You just have to have trust and faith that it will. And as you do, the universe will guide you and bring people, places, and circumstances in alignment that are in alignment with your desires. Neville talks about the spirit and the feeling. And through prayer and affirmations, we get into the feeling of our desires. And ultimately, it's about getting into the spirit of the state desired. Neville goes on to state that get into the spirit of the state desired by assuming the feeling that would be yours where you are already the one you want to be. As you capture the feeling of the state sought, you are relieved of all the effort to make it so, for it already is so. Spirit is the name that men give to the highest conception of infinite living mind. As Neville stated, it means the real essence. It means living mind. We get into this state by connecting with our higher intelligence and assuming that we are what we desire to be. I see desires as a way of connecting with infinite intelligence. So then to receive a desire is to be aligned with spirit. So the more we tap into the feeling of the desire, we are confirming our connection with the real essence, with infinite living mind. As you caption the feeling of this state sought, you are relieved of all effort to make it so, for you are already so. When you know something to be true, you don't look for evidence to confirm its truth, its validation. You know it to be true because you are it. Therefore, when you know yourself to be what you desire, you no longer look for evidence or proof because you believe it to be true. The way this plays out for many of us is when we don't align with the spirit of something and we doubt that we are what we desire to be, we look for proof outside of ourselves. We need validation. So we need people to tell us that we are doing a good job, or we need people to tell us that we are good enough, or we need people to tell us that we are in the right alignment. And there's nothing wrong with compliments and praise and nice things. But if we need proof of compliments and praise and nice things to believe that we are capable of what we desire, then we are disconnected with our higher self. Because as Neville said, signs follow, they do not precede. Proof that you are will follow the consciousness that you are. It doesn't precede it. Again, it's about believing that we have the power within. To him that hath, it shall be given. Therefore, feel yourself to be what you desire to be. Feeling is the glue that, when paired with imagination, brings your desires to life. In short, you express and have only that which you are conscious of being or possessing. To him that hath is given. When we recap feeling is a secret, there are basic principles of manifestation that incorporate feeling, sleep, prayer, and the basic operational laws. When we understand these, we can create the experience we desire. 2/3 of your life are spent awake. 1/3 of it is spent in sleep. When it comes to sleep, we want to look at it as the path from the conscious to the subconscious. It's through sleep that we provide the instructions for our dreams to take form. Through sleep, the conscious dreamer provides the blueprint to the subconscious creator, so they bring forth what they imagine, what they affirm, and what they feel themselves to be. Thank you for tuning into this episode. Please feel free to subscribe, like, or comment. Thank you again.